Hello, I'm here to raise awareness of the problem of double-stacked phones in the workplace. One for work data and one for personal. Now, some occurrences simply can't be avoided, but others can, and they are just instances of technology getting in the way of life. Now, I'm going to get into something more comfortable. That's better. Always nice to be in something tailor-made. At Google I/O last year, we spoke about enabling new features for Android in the workplace. We also included some new profile management and launcher APIs in Lollipop. It's all been building up to this. I'm Rich Hindman, and I'm going to run through the features of Android for work and what it means for developers, and how you can help users avoid the curse of the double-stacked phone. Android for Work transforms workplace mobility with enhanced security, consistent management, and an open framework for innovation. It supports corporate-owned devices and the use of personal devices at work. The latter's a bit more in-depth for devs, so I'll focus on that. In either situation, it is important for a company to be able to install enterprise apps for their employees and ensure their corporate data is totally secure. But it's equally important to remove access to the information when the employee leaves. At the same time, the user still wants control over their device, and Android for Work solves it by allowing IT admins to add a second user profile owned by them onto the device. They manage it with device policies. And we call that profile the work profile or managed profile. For an improved user experience, Android for Work combines those two profiles into a unified view of both personal and work apps, notifications, and recents. The work-related items are all badged up with the Android for Work logo for instant recognition. For developers, this opens up some great new opportunities, like benefiting from bulk orders, which easily enable installation of your applications across an entire enterprise. So what does it take for your application to be compatible with Android for Work? Fortunately, not much. There's just a couple of things that you need to be aware of. Firstly, as always with device policies, they may restrict use of some device features, like the camera. So please always ensure you follow the best practices and code defensively. Use the package manager to check if a system feature exists, and if it does, then just catch exceptions when trying to use it. On a device with managed or work profiles, IT admins can also restrict specific intents from passing from one profile to another. In most cases, when an intent is fired off, it's handled in the same profile. If there's no handler for the intent on that profile, and the IT admin has blocked it, then the intent is not going to be handled, and the app may close unexpectedly. The profile administrator can choose which intents are allowed to cross from one profile to the other. And since the administrator makes this decision, there's no way for you to know in advance which intents are allowed and which aren't. The administrator sets this policy and is free to change it at any time. The advice, same as before, code defensively. Always check that your intents can resolve before firing them off. Otherwise, let the user know. The managed profile is sandboxed off. This means it doesn't have access to the files in the user profile and vice versa. It also means that you can have the same app, your app, installed in both profiles, like Gmail with totally separate accounts and data. Apps sometimes need to provide other apps with access to their files. For example, an image gallery will share images with social media or an image editor. Now, there's two ways you'd normally share a file, with a file URI or a content URI. And of course, the file URI isn't going to work if you're sharing to a managed profile, as the file space isn't shared. You should always use content URIs for sharing files between apps. It's also a recommended method for sharing files anyway, as it gives you control over the access rights and period, and you don't potentially leak access to other files. If your app is sharing files, then please check out our Sharing Files training class. Finally, the same applies when requesting files from an intent, like taking a picture. You specify a content URI for the camera to store the image in. So, please don't double stack your phones, and don't make others do it either. Follow these hints and make sure your apps are ready for Android work. That's all for now, just some best practices. But in the next Android for Work Dev Bite, we're going to cover launchers, app restrictions, and testing. In the meantime, let's get busy.